Hi everyone, thank you for joining us once again for another episode of the I'll Try That podcast. There's going to be no real surprises to joining me this week. Say hello, Richard.
How we doing?
And very well, thanks. And say hello, Joe.
Hello.
Good solid hellos, everyone. Rich, whatever happened to multilingual greetings from you? Did we just give up on that several weeks ago?
In all honesty, I'm possibly the tiredest I've been in a long time, so I can't quite think straight. It feels like I'm still at sea. So
you're on the sharp end of a 14-hour day. We understand.
Yeah, it's been a long old day on the water in the power boats and stuff, but I've got a beer, I've had a power nap, and I've eaten some onion rings, so feeling
there you go, winning at life right now.
Feeling pretty positive about life.
And you're in a nice hotel by the looks of things in your backdrop.
Yeah, I'm in a fancy hotel. I don't have to share the bed with the dog. Yeah, things are going pretty well for me. Apart from the chair, I'm just going to show you the sofa that we have in this room. Look at that thing.
That doesn't look comfy at all.
It's not comfortable one little bit. But this chair I'm in at the moment kind of reclines back, which is a novelty for me. So I'm going to enjoy that.
You appear to have an air conditioning unit over your shoulder. When you are in a hotel room, do you use an air conditioning unit? For us Brits, it's a bit of a novelty.
I'm not really going to bore you boys, but I did buy an air conditioning unit this summer. So
How would that bore us?
So I've been pumping aircon into my personal bedroom at home all summer. So I've actually not got it on at the moment.
I do think that was a wise move for you, because if keen-eared listeners will remember, you live above someone who likes to pump their heating on all year round, no matter the temperature.
I live next to clearly a very cold-blooded individual who lives below me, and next to an Indian restaurant. So the combined heat that pumps into my third-floor flat all year round is absurd. So for the small price I paid for the aircon, it's been a blessing, and Rolly the dog loves it. So if he likes it, that's all good.
Right, well, good.
There we go.
I hope your
all up to speed.
Hotel room this evening is not quite so tropical.
Fingers crossed.
Good. What are we talking about today? Our pursuit of hoppiness is Butcombe Brewing Company, who many of you may be familiar from. They are Bristol born, as they describe, so they are a southern-based brewery. We'll talk more about them later on, but I am going to turn your attention first to Mr. Joe Druitt, who's going to talk to us about hop topics. So, Joe, take it away.
Thank you very much. Well, I thought it had been a while since we had proven our beer credentials to the listeners. So I thought...
You thought that, and you also thought, as we all did, there's no news.
There's zero beer news that's going on right now. Honestly, we got to... I think, Rich, you said you got to page 10 of Google of trying to find...
We've been trawling the internet for literally minutes. We're finding news.
The most exciting news I could find was about a bomb that had washed up onto Beer Beach, the small coastal village in Dorset called Beer, and a bomb had washed up onto it. That was the most exciting beer-related news I could find.
It's a tenuous link at best.
Pretty much,
absolutely. So I thought...
It didn't go off or anything, though.
No, it didn't sound like it had a bad ending to that one. Unlike the beer lorry crash which is a big pile up on the M6, which we thought, let's not cover that as well.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear about that.
Or there was another one where a thief had stolen some beer and dropped it as he left the supermarket. And I was like, how's that news? That's just, he just dropped beer.
And everyone's got enough negativity in. So let's have, sorry, Joe, I'll let you take back over again.
All right.
Sorry, go on.
That's all good. So, I'll just give us 5 quick questions. The boys have got chat ready to go in the Zoom call right now, so they can, and it's just angled at me, so we know they're not cheating. So let's just jump straight in. So what are the 4 main ingredients traditionally used in brewing beer?
I've got to type 5 things.
It says 4, but yes.
That's the secret 5th ingredient you're talking about.
That's that love that we all keep talking about, isn't it?
Can I console the bottle of beer that's next to me as well?
Okay, I've got Richard's answer in.
I'm being really stupid. I've forgotten the 4th one.
Wait there. This
I
could also
can't believe I forgot that even for a second.
Okay, I will confirm for question 1. The answer was, what are the 4 main ingredients traditionally used in beer brewing? You both got it correct. Water,
Thank
barley,
God.
hops, and yeast. So there you go. We have seen variations of rice, haven't we?
Yeah, wheat.
I thought hopes was one of the ingredients.
Okay, another quick fire one for you. Which country is the largest beer producer in the world? Which country is the largest beer producer in the world? The answer to that is China. So Matt got it right. Rich went with a whole continent of Asia.
Yeah, it works.
China is
It's a
definitely
very
part
good
of
answer,
Asia,
but it's not the one we're looking for.
We're looking for a country. Okay.
I very nearly got that wrong as well.
Which beer style is known for its hoppy bitterness? Which beer style is known for its hoppy bitterness? Got a bit harder with that one, didn't we? The answer for that is IPA, Indian Pale Ale. So Rich got that right, and Barbara got Pale Ale.
India on.
So there you go. So we're all squares and evens after 3. So let's do another one. What is a session beer? What is a session beer?
Nice.
Okay, I got Matt's answer. Okay, so the answer
should be some vocal feedback.
the answer is a beer with lower alcohol content, designed for extended drinking sessions. So Matt got it right because he said lower percentage. Now, listeners, what do we think? Rich's answer of easy drinking technically kind of fits that last bit of extended drinking sessions, but he doesn't specifically say it's because of the lower percentage ABV.
Well,
what are we thinking?
Barbara said because it was lower percentage, and I said it was easy drinking, and those were both in the answer.
Between us, we've got it all basis.
If you want to be fair, we can have half a point each.
Yeah, okay, so we're half a point each. Right, so going into the final question. Name...
Rich, just before we go to the final question, Rich, can't you see the great outcomes we have when we work together?
Yeah, but the podcast would be a lot more boring.
Yeah, that's true.
So final question.
Go on,
how
John.
good is Timothy Taylor's? No. Won't get into that one. We don't need another.
He knows the right answer, but he can't bring himself to say it.
Okay, so last question. What is the term for the process of adding hops during fermentation to increase aroma and flavour? So what is the term for the process of adding hops during fermentation to increase aroma and flavour?
No, it isn't.
What's the name?
Yeah, what is the term for the process of adding hops during fermentation to increase aroma and flavour? It's a brewing process.
This sounds like a trick question.
It's just brewing.
I'll test you.
Brewing.
I think this is a trick question.
Adding. What's
your answer, Rich?
God.
What Matt's?
I honestly don't have a clue.
I'll ask the question one last time. What is the term for the process of adding hops during fermentation to increase aroma and flavour?
No.
Pop it in the chat. What's your guess? Best guess.
The tension in this episode is palpable.
The answer is dry hopping. So, Matt, I think you get half a point for saying hopping. You missed the dry out of it, but the principle's the same of hopping. Now, Rich.
Okay, no. Technically, not wrong.
It is, though, isn't it?
Is it? What are we doing? And what's the process? The process is adding some hops. So...
Whatever you decide to assign him in terms of a point in this quiz, I'm claiming the moral victory.
I'm afraid I can't come with you with your adding logic, I'm afraid.
No? Okay.
So, but anyway, Barber wins by half a point, I'd say, in the overall standings of that one. But well done, chaps. I think you've more than shown that you can know enough about beer over our close to 4 years now, or over 4 years.
Has it been over 4 years?
I quite like that.
Over 4 years we've been doing this podcast.
Wow. What, April 2020?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I wasn't cool enough to join at the start. So,
Well, you joined about this time, I want to say, in 2020, didn't you?
I was just there or thereabouts, wasn't it? Yeah. What do you think, Sinai? Sorry, that just sounds like a really, really narky, I stole your spot. I didn't mean it like that.
He did say that's how he introduced you to people at his wedding. Was this is the person who took my place in the podcast and stole it from me? So it's
to rapturous applause. Anyway, sorry, we'll move on. Good quiz, Joe. Thank you for that. Right. I like that. That was kind of like simple but effective. Right, so we're talking about Butcombe Brewery, or Butcombe Brewing Co. South-based, Bristol-based, brought forward by me for the purposes of this episode for a few reasons, because they're actually, to me, and we always bring a local angle, in my neck of the woods, there are shed loads of pubs near me that have Butcombe Original on tap on the regular. It's popular around here. Again, we're not a million miles away from Bristol, but we're not Bristol itself. In fact, weirdly, I'm talking anecdotally, and I've not been down Bristol way for a little while. I'd say there's more pubs with Butcombe on tap in like around, say, an hour's perimeter, or that more diameter or radius away from Bristol than I ever sort of used to see in Bristol itself, which is interesting. But there are, I would say, 3 core beers that they will be chiefly recognised for. Butcombe Original. They recently, I beg your pardon, I'll come back to you on the timings of when these have been out. They've recently started doing Adam Henson's Rare Breed, for anyone who's familiar with Adam Henson and his farming programme. And so I got that one. I didn't get Butcombe Original because, again, to me, it's one that I'm pretty familiar with anyway. But Richard has supplied himself with the Goram IPA, I believe.
Yeah, so I've got the original and I've got the Goram, because I've never... I might have tried this, but I can't remember trying it.
Mm-hmm. And also, I thought they were a little bit of interest, because there's a couple of other things I've noticed about them recently. So they are doing some more crafty stuff. Which is, I thought they'd be an interesting one for us to look at in terms of what had previously to me been, I'd viewed them as a bit of an old school kind of brewer, taking on some of the kind of craftier, or trying to lean into that sort of trend. And also they're an interesting one because I know that they also do a bit of vertical integration and have quite a few scattered across the south of England pubs. And so there's one near us, actually, that they got a little royalty scheme for. And I have previously banged on about, to the nth degree, about, actually it's different for you guys, I think, where you've said there have been some good examples of it, but I've moaned about Green King pubs and them taking over nice places and, in my opinion, not doing a especially good job with it. However, the experiences I've had of Butcombe pubs recently has been thoroughly positive, and they're at great pains to say what great food they do and stuff like that. So, is there anything else left to talk about with them? That's what I thought they'd be interesting to talk about anyway. Nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah. It's a good synopsis, and I think you're right. I think you landed on a point there, which I was going to raise, which is, having been in a couple of Butcombe pubs, they are very good. You know, they're growing exponentially. They're growing around the south of England, but they're also quite prevalent in London as well now. But still very true to their Bristol roots is what they claim as well. But yeah, I think just the point of you were making about a Green King pub, or certain Green King pubs we've been to in recent past, not living up to expectations, but I haven't had a bad situation in a Butcombe pub. So I like what they've made their move into that space. And obviously it looks like they're refreshing their own beer portfolio to cater towards a different demographic of maybe their original, which is their tried and true staple, caters to.
So just a slight interlude about Green King pubs. I was in a Green King pub 2 days ago, I've just finished work midday, and I was like, oh, you know what? We'll go to the pub for lunch, sort of thing. Went in there, sort of thing, and then ordered a burger, ordered a steak. The woman then behind
a burger and a steak.
No. I was with my girlfriend, and we ordered a burger and a steak, and then she goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry, we don't have any chips." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Bear in mind, I'd already placed the order. The drinks were there on the side, sort of thing. She goes, "But you can either have a baked potato, fine, baked potato with a steak, that goes, sort of thing. That works." I then had a minor panic because she offered me baked potato and mashed potato to go with the burger. I had a minor panic and had mashed potato with my pulled pork burger, which I don't think really goes. It didn't. It was just more.
Yeah.
But they made the mash. Why didn't they save some of the potatoes and make chips?
Well, you ain't getting it made fresh.
I was going to say, there's no preparation that's going on in the back there. If they're not microwaving it or deep frying it from pre-created, delivered things, it's not happening, basically.
But what? But what pub runs out of chips?
Well, also, didn't you say it like midday?
Yeah, midday on a Friday.
That's not
on a Friday. Like what they do in the evening. Who's coming for their morning? Like, what's Big John going to do when he comes down the Green King and he wants his steak and chips? Yeah.
I can understand that they may pre-make or pre-prepare some of the potatoes, or to a certain extent. I would not be surprised that the chips are out of a bag, but yes, the idea of it's midday on a Friday, you ain't got any other potato option here, pal.
Just put Asda's 2 minutes away. They could have gone and got some McCain's. Sorry to
it's okay. I'm glad you got that off your chest, mate, because it's very similar to experiences that Barbara and I had, but all different, slightly different, but with the same end result of being quite disappointed.
Yeah. I ended up paying £51 for a burger and mash.
Yeah, that's not great.
That's not good.
But going back to Butcombe, though, and I think so as we were talking about the kind of the high quality of their offerings. So yeah, they have obviously a whole host of pubs that they manage and obviously manage well from our own experiences. They have also singled out like 4 specific ones which are part of their boutique inns. Basically, they have like a higher caliber, I think, or maybe they've won some awards. Specifically, they won the George Inn won the best pub in the National Pub and Bar Awards in the UK last month, and they've got a senior sous chef. Amy Harley was also recently voted Pub Chef of the Year at the Salon Culinaire Awards. So yeah, they've got some pretty high flying award-winning pub situation going on here.
I like that there's an award. I like that there's an award for pub grub. Because it holds a place, I think, in everyone's hearts. Be you rich, be you poor, sort of thing. Everybody loves pub grub.
Absolutely.
Well, so yeah, the nearest Butcombe pub to me is like, sorry, it's a close run thing. I'm actually between 2, and there's one that I didn't think does food, and actually is quite sportsy. And is where you can go and watch, or as I have, I know you're going to think this is just classic Barbs, but you can go and see quite grungy bands in there.
Nice.
Or you certainly used to be able to. And the other one, which is sort of a slightly more sort of rural setting, which is still just close. It's like one in town, one out. But the other one is they are like going hard on making really nice food, and actually it's a pub there's a bar, beer garden, and like dining room, and the food is top notch.
Yeah, I quite like that, and I think that it sounds like if they're diversifying what their pub should be doing, so they can go across all walks of life. And you go, "Oh, have you been to a Butcombe?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, I went to go and see this cool little band." Have you been to a Butcombe? Yeah. The food, top notch.
That's it.
Yeah.
I went to their new, 18th century coach house in the heart of Somerset for a weekend. It sounds like they're bringing good vibes across the board. Yeah. Now, one thing we've brushed upon, but we haven't really got into, the beer. One is your guys' take on the original beer and the Goram IPA.
So I haven't tried the original yet. So I'll give you a live verdict. Give me a minute. It's fine. I tell you what, I'm preferring the Goram than I am the original. I quite like the Goram. I'm a big fan of that, actually. The
Nice.
the original, as it just isn't particularly my fancy. But we know these kinds of ales or beers aren't my go-to.
With all due
aren't
respect,
my favourite.
with all due respect, I would somewhat have predicted that myself from my experience of drinking Butcombe. Yeah.
Yeah.
They call it an original. I think of it as being a best bitter, and I'm now desperately looking for something to just confirm that for me. But I think it's quite wonderful. It's just always been there and always reliable. To me, it has this kind of nice, homely, wholesome feel. I would also point to the fact that I'm just going to hit you with facts from after that sort of soft, touchy-feely thing. But you need only look at the awards.
I was going to say,
I would say. World Beers Award Silver, World Beer Award Bronze, BBI 2024, Taste of the West Gold Award 2022. Sorry, the BBI Awards was in 23 and 24.
What is
Top 10 cask ale?
what is the BBI?
You know,
Bristol Beer Institute.
Yeah.
Bristol Beer Institute. Did they sponsor?
it's been
it?
on the.
Sorry, the the British Bottlers Institute. I should have got that right the first time. Yeah, not Bristol only. Bristol, the British Bottlers Institute.
Nice. But yeah, like I'm not horrified by it. It is drinkable and it is very nice, and I can see why people enjoy it. But the Goram IPA much more up my street than the original beer. But what?
Can I ask what? I didn't actually catch what's the percentage of Goram.
Goram is 5%.
So
It's a bit stronger because the original is 4%.
Oh, mine's 4.5.
Oh, yeah, it's 4% when it's on draft.
Okay.
Beg your pardon.
But then again, Butcombe are just doing what they do. They're just making sure there's something for everybody across the board. Just like their pubs.
So,
Have
do
you
you know
guys-
where the
so-
name Goram
Oh,
comes
go on,
from?
Tell me, Joe.
The Cornish thing.
It's the legendary
been
giants from Bristol. So the legend goes that there were two myths and origins, local geography areas, supernatural areas. So there were two local giants, Gorm and Vincent, who, according to one version, were brothers, fancied the same woman, the beautiful Avona, who was named after the Avon, the local river, in Latin. She was open-minded about her suitors and offered herself to whichever of them could drain the lake, which supposedly only once occupied the space between Bradford-on-Avon, Wiltshire and Bristol. They chose different routes through the limestone hills for their drainage channels. Goram opted for a route through Henbury, and Vincent chose through the side of Clifton. Unfortunately for Goram, he overheated while hard at work, drank a giant quantity of ale, and fell asleep in his favourite stone chair, whilst Vincent paced himself better and completed his channel. So there you go. That is the story of where Goram comes from.
So I like that. Do they have an ale called Vincent?
I don't think so. I think they've just... I'm not sure why Goram over
I like
Vincent.
the way
it's a good question.
they chose the guy who was lazier and drank beer. I like that. They've gone, you know what?
Maybe that's probably why they did it. Because he actually had a link with ale.
Yeah.
Did you say that Vincent paced himself? Maybe Vincent needs to be the name of their session IPA.
Yes, exactly. Could be. Also, a fun fact I'm reading on their website, Rich, you might appreciate, that the Goram is a punchy blend of American and Worcestershire hops.
Ooh,
there you go. Maybe that's why you like it so much more.
Representing the hometown.
There you go. But I'm also quite enjoying that they're like the Butcombe icon is the Clifton Suspension Bridge. Having been there last weekend, it was quite nice to...
It's very easy. It's very easy to not see that, isn't it? And then once you have seen it, you're like, oh yeah, there you go.
And you've got the little balloon with the bee, Butcombe bee in it, flying over the suspension bridge as well. It's a little detail that I missed the first time I saw that.
Yeah, because the Balloon Festival was only a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? And that's just on the other side of the bridge.
I recently watched a video about Bristol and balloons, and there was a balloon flying over Bristol playing drum and bass, and I was like, well, that's more Bristol than anything, really, isn't it?
That's so
So
Bristol.
Bristol.
Are you guys familiar with Adam Henson?
I'm not. Tell me
No,
more.
fill me in.
Yeah, so I think this is just kind of a nod to be honest, it's weird, the sort of Venn diagram of people who I would expect to know about Adam Henson and actually do, weirdly don't overlap or only do a tiny little bit. Basically, so this is the rare breed that I'm drinking, is Adam Henson is minor celebrity man who owns a Cotswold farm park. And he has brewed this special bit. I think there's a TV show about his farm, and he's made this beer called Rare Breed, which has been very popular since. And there's possibly a little bit here about chicken and egg. Is the beer that nice, or has everyone gone, "Oh, Adam Henson's beer"? And I think it's because he's really committed to sustainable farming and methods and that sort of thing. So it does taste very nice. I would say. That's it. In the Cotswolds, he's growing Maris Otter barley, and I think it's a Cascade and Amarillo hop, which I assume is also grown there as well. But it's a very nice drop, and it's a little bit more of that lighter, more summery, fresh tasting beer than the original that we were talking about. But it was funny because I wasn't sure. There's a few people I said, I talked about a Butcombe pub recently, and someone went, I tried some of that Adam Henson the other day, the Rare Breed. I said that was quite a nice drop, and I was like, oh, because I don't really know who Adam Henson is, and they and I said, do you? And they went, no, not really. Very odd, but I think it's a bit of a nod there to some of the sustainability practices and the suggestion, as is often the case with some breweries that we see, that they are only putting good stuff in the bottle or cask, basically.
So I was looking out because none of us have got their like kind of more craftier, more modern take on a beer, the Tall Tales Pale Ale, which I was then looking in the background for. So this is inspired by a mysterious tale of a crocodile being spotted in the River Avon in Bristol. Our Tall Tales Pale Ale is undeniably delicious, refreshingly fruity and likes pale ale, blah, 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 blah. Grapefruit, pineapple and lemon. What do you kind of expect from a pale ale? So, looking on Untapped, because again, we're tapping into the breadth of reviews that you can get on Untapped. This is Rob Hall. He was drinking the Tall Tales Pale Ale, and he said, seems to straddle the worlds of old man hops and a more modern approach. Actually really enjoying this. So that's interesting.
Is that a beer me and Barbara could maybe come together on? With the old man hops.
You could give it a go, couldn't you? A lot of people rating this very highly on the Untapped website. A lot of, if I ever need a drip, make it this. There you go, Ryan Harding.
I wouldn't. I'm not a medical person, but I don't think a drip of beer is going to cure you. Just throwing that out there.
Stephen Davies. Here's a good one. He was Untapped at home, and he was drinking the Tall Tales Pale Ale. Refreshing, fizzy, clean, and good flavours. Very, very easy drinking beer. Couldn't decide between 3.75 and 4, but as it didn't last long, went for 4. Good. I'm not sure what that means. Is that ABV?
You might have had 2 or 3 too many, I reckon.
The rating system at 5. Right. Okay. Got it.
I really enjoy these comments, but then I was just thinking, I was like, who sits down and writes these and reviews this sort of stuff and sits down to do it? Then I realised for the past 4 years we have a podcast where we've dedicated reviewing beer. And then kind of thought, it was kind of a very round robin thought on that one. But I've never sat down and typed a review, and I've just spent 30 to 45 minutes discussing it and then an hour or so editing about it. So probably a lot more time reviewing.
That's it.
Yeah.
As long as if you're asked to do a rating out of 10, you don't say 7.8, you're all right with me. Actually, sorry, this is a real sidestep segue. One of my favourite reviews recently is just like, you have those moments you go, why have you written this? I think there's some item of clothing. I think I was looking for a waterproof or something. And someone just said, be careful. Mine got delivered and something was wrong with it. It was obviously faulty. Waiting on the new one. I was like, write the review when you're finished.
I'll post another
Halfway
update
through.
once I have the product back.
Yeah.
It's
I can't factor in my life to check back in to see how this worked out.
See how the
later
story
on.
unfolded. He's leaving us wanting more. You know?
it's when people review movies from the trailer, and you're just like, come on, you've at least got to watch the film.
Bold.
Like,
Yeah. Bold.
All right, let's wrap up on Butcombe. So Butcombe on Instagram has 10k followers. On X,
People who are looking for the wrong
have 12.2k followers. Yeah, so you have to find them as Butcombe Brewery or hashtag Butcombe Original.
BUTCOMBE, all one word.
That's it. Don't get lost in a Google search. So yeah, I think overall nice tasty beers, like a bit of something for everyone, and most importantly, some really good pubs across the board. So
we nearly got all the way through the episode without me sniggering.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber,
and Simo.
Goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter.
I'll try that podcast.com.
And watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.